It's back. It's back! Basketball is back. And guess what? The Lakers started off with a 103-101 win against the Clippers inside of Orlando's bubble. And yes, I'm not going to lie to you. I know there are going to be Lakers fans waking up this morning feeling like they can conquer the world, that the NBA is their oyster, but relax. It's only one game, and it's a fucking seeding game, all right? There's 7 more of these motherfuckers that we have to go through. But you know what? I would say any Lakers fans watching the first quarter would have actually liked that. I mean, yeah, you got off to a 12-point lead. You're taking advantage of the Clippers, kind of bad shots and bad misses. And yeah, you could definitely tell the sluggishness of a good chunk of players on both sides because of this long layoff. And you could tell me that, all the teams play scrimmage games, but it's not the same as games that actually fucking matter. Now, despite the Lakers having a 12-point lead in the first quarter, you can never be comfortable with the team with Kawhi Leonard and PG Slut because it's a good squad. And they got depth. They got the fucking foaming at the mouth Patrick Beverley. Although Chicken Strip Club Lou is out, you still have a very formidable squad in the Clippers. And eventually, by the second quarter, when the Lakers are just now jacking up shots, Clippers capitalize on the misses. And they commit inside the paint and force the Lakers to commit fouls. And so what you see is just this good back and forth pull between the Clippers and the Lakers, which is exactly what NBA fans want to see. Although the narrative is very clear when it comes to anti-Lakers sentiments within the sports media. When I watch a guy like Skip Bayless or any of those jackasses on fucking First Take, it's laughable at best. But I digress, boys and girls, because as a basketball fan, I could just watch this shit and enjoy it and just realize that these are 2 really top-tier teams. And despite the fact that in my, educated guesses for this NBA return bubble playoff fucktard, whatever thing you want to fucking call it, I said if the Clippers match up with the Dallas Mavericks in the first round, I think Dallas wins it in 7. Now, will it actually happen? I don't know. Because there's going to be a lot of things moving forward that you have to, kind of have, right? I mean, players that are healthy, decent schedule relative to your opponents and shit like that. But you look at this matchup and think, man, if the Lakers and Clippers really went about against each other, this could be an amazing 7-game series. And, for them to nearly tie it up, right? 54-52 Lakers leading by halftime, you're just having all these thoughts of, okay, all that future shit aside, how are the Lakers going to cope with the pressure that is about to come in the second half? Because let's be honest, man, great teams fucking dominate in the third and fourth quarter. They show up to close out games. And boy, oh boy, third quarter, it was really, really the Clippers just, acting on, transition and just D'ing the Lakers up pretty well. But by the tail end of this third quarter, you see the Lakers just kind of, hyping themselves up in a way, right? And reemerging from kind of the depths of just that first part of the third quarter, where it looked a bit lackadaisical, at least in my opinion. And so despite the Lakers trailing behind 77-76 by the end of the third quarter, you see the Lakers roaring back in the fourth quarter. And again, there are interesting moments here and there. I mean, Kyle Kuzma with the fucking, I believe it was the block, and then just the run back into the other side. And little minutia details here and there just made this game extremely memorable. Another classic Clippers-Lakers battle this season. And how much better a way to finish this game off than, I would argue, a very dramatic last 2 minutes of this game where Caruso goes careening out of bounds to save the fucking ball and just essentially get the fucking rebound and slap the shit out of the ball to fucking save it. And you gotta think, man, this boy is gonna be a difference maker despite the Lakers not having Avery Bradley for the bubble. And it was pretty phenomenal to watch that, especially in the last 2 minutes of this fucking game. That just unfolding before your eyes. But, despite the Lakers having these big moments, I mean, the Clippers are still there to answer the call. And PG Slut tying it up with a three-pointer just made the Lakers sweat. But thankfully, LeBron James showed up at the end. Can you fucking LeBron James fanboys just shut the fuck up for 1 second? Okay, I've been a fucking fan of this goddamn team since 1998. I've seen LeBron James since day one in this stupid fucking team. And don't fucking tell me that LeBron James always comes up in the clutch. He really doesn't. Not always. Okay, sometimes he does. I'll admit to that. But there's a good chunk of times where he doesn't, and he misses. And he fucks up, especially on free throws. But this time around, very different. The man fucking goes in for the layup, misses, gets his own goddamn rebound, puts it back in. Lakers are by 2. Hooray! And still, you're sweating. You're sweating because PG Slut can just fucking pop off from the perimeter, pop, three-pointer with about, 10 or so seconds left, 6 seconds left. Not enough time, dude. Not enough time. But thankfully, switching, defense, all that shit comes to fruition. Good job, Frank Vogel, figuring that out. And the Lakers grabbing a late win by 2 points. And I gotta tell you, man, as much as I like basketball coming back, there are some weird aspects about the return. The weird courtside camera angle. I don't know what the fuck the deal with that shit is, but it is weird. And it feels like, at any point, Booger McFarland's going to pop out and talk about, oh, you should have gone to the 10-yard line there. Some stupid, obvious shit. But that's just my personal gripe. And the general awkwardness of virtual fans, despite how actually cool it looks. I mean, it looks like an actual, cardboard cutout, but of a real-life person just being there. Fantastic stuff, but again, a bit awkward just because it's not real people. But yes, we live in a very weird time. The time of the Chinese virus, Kung Flu. And admittedly, I want to shit on this fucking league, the NBA, for just their, how do I lightly say this? Intolerant political beliefs. But I'm going to try my fucking best whenever I talk about the Lakers in these reviews to not discuss politics because I don't want to fucking do that. It's all about the fucking sport. And within this matchup, the Lakers grab a pretty nice win. I'm not going to say convincing win. I'm not going to say dominating win because guess what? On the other side, the Clippers, they showed out. They showed out. And I got to tell you, if Lou Williams is there, I don't know if the Lakers win it like that. Maybe Lou gets off a fucking three-pointer at the end and sinks in the game winner. But I digress, boys and girls, because the reality is the Clippers had who they had and they lost. But who they had, I hate the fact that Kawhi is there because he's great. I'm not going to fucking deny that. I mean, 28 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and on 43.8% shooting, only missing 2 free throws out of a fucking total 13 that shot up. Dude, holy shit. Talk about efficiency. Now, in terms of the shooting percentage, not his most efficient night. But who gives a shit when you got PG Slut on the side helping your ass out with 30 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals on 64.7% shooting and damn near, over 50%, 54.5%, 6 out of 11 on 3-point shooting? Good Lord. Yeah, you could have a kind of off night in the shooting department if you're Kawhi, if PG Slut shows up like that. Unbelievable. And in my eyes, for the Clippers, I think a real pest that caused the Lakers a lot of problems early on was Reggie Jackson. and I have to emphasize the word pest because he might not give you a lot of points here. I mean, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, but dude was everywhere. Dude was everywhere, just causing a fucking problem. And thankfully, the Lakers got their shit together, grabbed their fucking nutsacks, manned up and won. And it was led by AD, the man whose jersey I'm repping out in the fucking background today. 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and on 42.1% shooting. And here's the thing. 16 out of 17 on the free throw department, 2 out of 5 in the 3-point shooting. All around great night for AD. And he needs to be able to compensate like that when LeBron James having a relatively off shooting night, 31.6%, despite the fact that, yes, he did put up 16 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Does everything else. Just kind of lacking in the shooting department yesterday. But we're not going to hold that against it because the Lakers won. And again, everybody else kind of just stepped up and did their part. A guy like Kyle Kuzma, who has been ridiculed and criticized by every goddamn foreseeable Lakers fan. Oh, he's not good enough. We got to trade him. Stop it. Stop it. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 out of 8 made baskets, and 7 of those were 3-pointers. And he made 4 of them. So, yeah. Let's really think about, shit with roster composition and changes. Think about that shit for a second before you say stupid shit. But, of course, I know how fickle Lakers fans are. I'm fucking fickle as shit. I looked at a guy coming in like J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters and thought, this is fucking stupid. Although, yeah, J.R. had a pretty decent game. Now, I don't know when the fuck he's going to completely collapse again, but, for the time being, he was all right. Although, I got to highlight Dion Waiters in this game with 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and honestly, a relatively bad shooting night from him in the 3-point department with 1 out of 6 made baskets. But overall, I mean, he was, I would say, the kind of antithesis for Reggie Jackson, or at least, matching him up one-on-one. And overall, I got to say, this was just a great game and just a great return to the NBA court to see these guys, Warriors, battle it out. Not literal Warriors because they've been dog shit all throughout the fucking season and they might get LaMelo Ball. But the Lakers and the Clippers are now showing out to everyone that, hey, these two teams, we're the fucking top dogs in the West. Now, of course, there are going to be teams in the Western Conference, trying to vie for that fucking higher seeding. But right now, the Lakers are sitting comfortably ahead of the Clippers 6.5 games. And I believe with the Denver Nuggets, I want to say 8.5 or 7.5, but the Lakers now have leeway. And this is exactly what you need for cats like AD, LeBron James, where you can half-ass games. In my opinion, at least 2 or 3 of these fucking games, you can half-ass it. And just make sure your players get plenty of rest, especially the last 2-3 seeding games. If you have already won 2-3 after that, what the fuck is the point of actually going out there and fucking sustaining possible injuries? All I'm saying is, win the games that matter. Win the games against top-seeded teams. And maybe a game against the Sacramento Kings, which is one of the later seeding games, you don't play your full squad. Because it's all about longevity. It's all about maintaining that health. It's all about being consistent. And yeah, I understand that there's the ironic part of not playing players, and it's an inconsistent thing, but the nature of this beast is, oh God, what's the fucking word I'm trying to look for? It's a battle of, good Lord, I fucking lost the word, but it's a battle of stamina. It's a battle of, who lasts the longest, but it's too early to say who's gonna come out on top from just this matchup. You obviously got more seeding games you have to go through, but I'm very excited about what the Lakers can potentially do, especially if you don't play your stars. I mean, this bench presence from the Lakers, they're doing pretty well. So I'm okay with the win. All right, I'm pretty ecstatic with the win, and hell, it's a good time to be Lakers fans, boys and girls. It is. It is. Although the fan base has become more toxic than usual, so there's also that. But hey, a Lakers win is always a good thing. So, boys and girls, follow me at the Sky Lounge on all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily contents. Fuck off. Let's go Lakers.